I'll be going up and I'll be feeling good and working out. And I'm like, yeah, I have so much energy because cacao is a major, major, major stimulant. It's actually been said on some websites I researched back in 2012 when I had a crash after 2.5 years of probably abusing cacao as a stimulant to keep going. I found that it might be more addictive than cocaine. And I mean, I've only tried cocaine 5 times, so I don't really know about the addictiveness, but with cacao, yeah, it's a major stimulant. So whatever's going to take you up, you're going to drop down, right? So the body can't just keep going. Where does this energy come from? It doesn't come from thin air. So when we're highly nourished with green juices and watermelon, I have watermelon here, we can kind of keep going. But when we have stimulants like coffee, cacao, green tea, which give us some nutrients, but it's really just a stimulant effect, we're burning out our liver, our adrenals, our thyroid. Eventually we're going to keep dipping into the resources of energy kind of and tap out. So you got to be really careful when we're taking stimulants.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't see that and then see it as
cacao bean, and I don't
and then it's coca
believe cocaine.
But it's still that same, like, is it that it's caffeinated? Is cacao caffeinated, or is it just it's in and of itself a stimulant?
Not caffeinated. I could be wrong because I'm always open to being wrong, but I'm pretty sure that cacao, the stimulants are theobromine and anandamide, which are extremely powerful stimulants. There's so many stimulants more outside the world of caffeine. I don't believe there's any caffeine. If you have maybe a hot chocolate, there might be caffeine in it because it's a whole elixir of ingredients. But cacao itself, I don't believe there's any caffeine in that.
It is itself, well, it contains stimulants within and outside of the family of caffeine or anything like that. That's okay. That's really cool. I actually didn't know that. That could explain a lot too, because
I do a lot. I really try to stay away from, a lot of people focus on what to stay away from, and that's part of it, but we can't get too wrapped in it. A lot of people say, oh, I eat so healthy, I don't have sugar, I don't have this, and it's like, well, what are you doing? And a lot of times when the focus is what I'm not doing, what I'm avoiding, a lot of times there's not enough good stuff in. So it's good to have both, know what to stay away from and also adding in. I focus more on adding in. So just before, I had a watermelon. Watermelon has natural vitamin E. If you take vitamin E, that might not be so healthy for you, so I don't recommend supplementing with vitamin E. But watermelon citrulline as well, which is good for men, good for your libido, your sex drive. It's also pretty low cal and very cleansing for the kidneys. So we want to cleanse those kidneys, especially if you're taking supplements. Most people are, that I know. Even like a green powder is still concentrated. Anything dried and concentrated, it's going to be harder on your kidneys and your liver. So we want to make sure you have kidney cleansers. So I try to do watermelon all summer. Eating seasonally is a great one. Very long plan. I have mint and fennel from my garden that I blended up, and I made ice cubes out of them, and I put the ice cubes in water. So I show this a lot. So anyone that's seen
this is exactly, everybody who's listening, this is exactly what her Instagram is like. So this is perfect. It's like long form version of exactly what I'm trying to promote from you. Like this is why I like to follow you. So what are those?
So these are sprout cubes. I get sprout deliveries. I get a whole bunch of sprouts delivered every week from Don's Finest. Shout out to Don Sprouts, Donnie Greens. And I blend them up because I just don't feel like eating them. And I put them into, it's just water and sprouts. And I put them in ice cube trays. And then after the ice cubes freeze, then I put them in a bag. And then every time I want some sprouts, I put them in water. I'll do that right now because the stuff from the set today, I brought these to set. So today I brought wheatgrass cubes and sprout cubes to set. Gives you a lot of energy. Supposedly people who are autistic or on the spectrum, we're all on the spectrum somewhere, function better with sprouts and sulfur foods, getting foods with sulfur. So those are some things I do. I put a little bit of coconut oil and cacao into my coffee earlier, just to have a little more staying power because I didn't really feel like eating on set. There's a lot. I mean, I'm like a mad scientist the way I eat, so the answer is really long. But those are some things I do.
Yeah, I feel like that's how it gets. There's so many levels to get into, and I think people are really intimidated and feel like in order to be healthy, you have to be that wild about it. But you don't. But what ends up happening, I say to everybody, it's like you end up falling in love with it. So you don't have to go that road, and you don't have to start by throwing away your entire kitchen and then like buying all this stuff. But you try
No.
things little by little, and then over time you just start slowly replacing all the old things with the new, you know?
I mean, everyone's different. So I have some clients, I'm like, yo, if you feel like you want to go hard and you want to go all into it, then great. But what I recommend is just 1 to 8 changes a week. And a change can be like, oh, I'm gonna have sprouts, or oh, I'm gonna have tea maybe instead of coffee, or I'm gonna start walking. Now, those are 3 changes right there. So I recommend take it slow so it all adds up and it's cumulative. But maybe you want to go hard. You see how you feel. Everyone's a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. It also depends on like how slow your body's changing. Like I'm working with somebody right now who's a kung fu student and also a massage client. So I don't do traditional. I do traditional massage therapy, but I don't charge extra for different modalities or like try to upsell people on like deep tissue or Thai or stretching or off from this idea. Like you have to spend $4,000 on supplements and equipment and greens and sprouts and butcher
Right.
box and, you know, like whatever it is that you're going to end up doing. And
Yeah.
it really doesn't have to be that way.
No, it can be as simple as just go to the farmer's market and spend maybe $70 a week on fruits and vegetables, maybe get some meats here and there. For the summer, you don't have to have that many meats. So you can.
It also leads to, you know, like you ever had a terrible boss, you know? It's just an absolute terrible boss. Where do you think
I'm
that
in the
comes from?
film
It's this
industry, so
mentality.
I deal with arrogant, truly textbook narcissistic, womanizing, adulterated directors and producers all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. I'm sure it gets crazy. It's
Mhm.
amazing it's amazing the lengths that people will go to feel like they have power.
Yeah, but what I will say, I was just talking about this on set, is that to do great things, maybe to run a big company and to be on a film set, maybe to train tons of people and be in charge, but to do really great things, I would say to make a movie, which is an outlandish thing.
You have to be
Uh,
selfish.
I do think that you have to have a little touch of narcissism. I talk about this with a previous mentor and my dad, that I think that you have to have a little touch of these visions of grandeur and this feelings of self-importance to get anything done in the world. Because people I see that don't really feel important or worthy that they can do something unreal and create miracles, they're not getting anything done.
Yes, and trust me. I mean, like, look at me. I'm the host of a show, and I'm posting myself all the time, and I'm putting my shit out there constantly. Like, I get it. I have it. I know what you're talking about. I do have that touch of narcissism. I do have that touch of self-importance. My brother makes fun of me. My brother makes fun of me all the time. All the time. But at the same time, I do know that I need to keep it in check. You know? I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was in a band. I was like 19, 20 years old, and I joined. Remember the Crazy Donkey? No, it was on.
No,
It used to be this big venue on 110 called the Crazy Donkey in
I lived in
Huntington.
DC for 10 years, so I
Oh,
really
okay.
didn't
So
know
yeah.
about
So
it.
okay. So you probably missed the whole. It was only open for like a few years.
Okay,
But it was
yeah.
where there were big shows there. There were really popular bands would play.